Alrighty, what's up dudes? We are back with another video. This time I'm going to be talking about Alpha Moonken. I had the opportunity to play Alpha for about 6 hours on Thursday, and then just a couple hours on Friday. I had a MDI rehearsal, but I did get a decent amount of time in. There is a decent amount that has changed, but it's not like the most substantial thing. It is quite interesting how it ends up functioning though. So let's just jump into it. We're going to talk about the base kit first and what's different with that. Alrighty, so first and foremost, the most important thing that is actually changing about the base kit is our mastery is getting changed. So formerly our mastery used to be empowerments, and now it is this new mechanic called Eclipse. And basically what Eclipse is Starfire has a 25% chance to empower Wrath for 13 seconds, and Wrath has a 25% chance to empower Starfire for 13 seconds. Each Eclipse may occur once every 30 seconds. And then the Eclipse for Solar is Wrath time is reduced by 20%, and damage is increased by 20%. And then the Lunar Eclipse is Starfire's cast time is reduced by 20%, and area of effect damage is increased by 100%. So area of effect damage for all of your abilities, whether that's Fury of Elune, whether that's Starfall, whether that's like the full moon cleave, all of that is increased by 100%. So that is by far the biggest change. Then most of the other changes to our base kit revolve around that. Celestial Alignment got a little bit of a change as well. So Celestial Alignment used to be just like flat damage plus haste, and now Celestial Alignment says celestial bodies align, beginning both eclipses at the exact same time. It begins them at the exact same time and grants 15% critical strike while they persist. In addition to that, whenever you cast Star Surge, every single time you cast it, it extends any active eclipse by 3 seconds. Celestial Alignment is just a buff that you get that doesn't have any duration on the eclipses, so you can keep extending it. You can extend your Celestial Alignment buff, I guess, technically indefinitely if you cast enough Star Surges, but you can end up extending it for a significant period of time. So that's kind of interesting. Starfall, I think everybody probably knows that Starfall got changed, and Starfall is now very similar to what it was of old, where it will basically reads call down waves of falling stars upon enemies within 40 yards, dealing astral damage to them over 10 seconds. So something to note about that is that it is like it will not pull mobs that are out of combat, but it hits like every single target within 40 yards of you that you can reach with the Starfall as long as you are in combat with them. Okay, so in addition to that as well, Stampeding Roar got added as a ability on our base kit, which is kind of interesting to see how that ends up working. Pretty nice ability. You end up shifting straight into bear form if you use it out of Moonken form. If you're in cat form, you'll stay in cat form whenever you Stampeding Roar. 20-yard range, by the way, so pretty good ability. Also, you get Cyclone as a base ability. I don't think Cyclone has the most significant uses in PvE content. I'm sure it has some uses, like if you're trying to keep a world quest mob alive for your friend to come tag it, or if you are trolling somebody, or if you're trying to make a mob not get bolstered. Cyclone, I'm sure, has a decent use case for that there. Beyond that, I think that is all the changes to the base kit that I can even remember. I'm looking right now. Yeah, I think that's all the changes to the base kit that I can remember. So let's talk about the Eclipse system just a little bit briefly and talk about how some of the interactions actually end up working out with that. Alright, so a couple questions that I had asked to me from the Balance Theory crafting community about how Eclipse ends up working out. So first and foremost, Celestial Alignment resets the ICD on Eclipse. So the Eclipse proc is actually on an ICD, like you can't chain the procs. So it is on that 30-second ICD like it was stating in that tooltip that I read to you guys. And whenever you you can proc the Eclipse, and then you can proc your other side of the Eclipse. Like say you proc Solar Eclipse, then you proc Lunar Eclipse. They should still both be on ICD, but then use Celestial Alignment into it. Whenever that Celestial Alignment fades, regardless of where the ICD would have you needing to be reset, or like wherever the ICD would like naturally reset, currently Celestial Alignment resets that ICD to 0. So you're able to then proc another side, like, so say you went Solar Eclipse, Lunar Eclipse, Celestial Alignment. You could go straight back into Lunar Eclipse if you want, even if your Celestial Alignment only lasts 15 seconds. So CA resets the ICD of both Eclipse states. Celestial Alignment also overrides the current Eclipse. It doesn't extend. You also cannot proc an Eclipse during Celestial Alignment. So those are two interesting nuances to that. And then Star Surge extends both Eclipse states whenever you are in Celestial Alignment. I still need to test whether Shooting Stars has a diminishing return still. I have yet to change that. I'll be honest with you, I forgot. I was supposed to do that like yesterday, but I definitely did forget. So those are some things that are interesting. In addition to that, both Eclipse actually end up affecting astral damage in their unique way. So if you're in Celestial Alignment, it will give the bonus damage, because astral damage is both nature and arcane. So Solar Eclipse increases nature damage by 34%, and Lunar Eclipse increases arcane damage by 34%, is what our mastery ends up actually doing. But Star Surge and Starfall are both astral damage, which means that they are both. So whenever you are in Celestial Alignment or Incarnation, it increases your astral damage, which is both. So you end up double dipping a little bit, if that makes any sense. Alright, so with all that has changed with the base kit, let's actually jump into the differences in the talents. So overall, the talent tree looks very similar to what it does on live, but there are a few differences. So first off, Feral Affinity. Now you have Maim associated with Feral Affinity. Guardian Affinity, you have Incapacitating Roar associated with Guardian Affinity. And Restoration Affinity, you have Ursul's Vortex associated with it. I forgot to mention this whenever I was talking about what changes in our base kit, but you actually have Typhoon baseline as Moonkin now, meaning that you can talent into, or you can have Typhoon baseline, and then you talent into Restoration Affinity, giving you a powerful combination of Ursul's Vortex plus Typhoon. Or if you want an AoE stop, like another knockback or something like that, an AoE stop is a knockback effectively. Incapacitating Roar, you could talent into that with Guardian Affinity. There's still like a bunch of the passives that are associated with it as well. And so the ability that was formerly Typhoon for Moonkin got changed to Heart of the Wild. And what Heart of the Wild is abilities associated with your chosen affinity are substantially empowered for 45 seconds. Basically, I have Restoration talented right now, and Restoration, it reads, healing of your Restoration spells increased by 30%, and mana cost reduced by 50%. That's quite interesting. But in addition to that, if you really want more utility spells, you could run like Mighty Bash plus Typhoon plus Ursul's Vortex. That's always nice. Mass Entangle, you can run that plus Typhoon plus Ursul's Vortex. Get all three of those abilities. Overall, that is incredibly powerful for Mythic Plus, just in the current state of the game. So another couple changes. Soul of the Forest got changed a little bit. It's no longer like the Starfall cost reduction. What it is Eclipse's cast time reduction is increased by 5%, and duration is increased by 3 seconds on each Eclipse. So that's pretty nice for some things. Star-Lord's the exact same. Incarnation is actually a little bit different. So we talked about Celestial Alignment before. Celestial Alignment is you get both Eclipses and it grants 15% critical strike while they persist. Incarnation is an improved Moonkin form that causes both Eclipses to be active and grants 15% haste, 15% critical strike chance. It lasts 30 seconds, and you may shapeshift in and out of this improved Moonkin form. So you get both Eclipses, but you cannot extend them with Star Surge. Like Celestial Alignment was a flat 15 seconds that you could extend indefinitely with Star Surge. This is not the case for how Incarn ends up working out. So that's something that's very interesting that you should take note of. Alrighty, so another talent row that has changed a little bit. So Stellar Drift has actually changed. Twin Moons and Stellar Fire are the exact same on that row, but Stellar Drift has changed a little bit. It increases Starfall's duration by 2 seconds. It's damaged by 25% and allows you to cast while moving while it is active. Like I stated previously, Starfall has this, it's now 40-yard range, and it hits all targets that you're in combat with for 40 yards. Whenever you're talented in the Stellar Drift, it's just 2 seconds longer, and its damage is increased by 25%. So this talent may actually end up being competitive with Twin Moons on AoE, depending on how strong it ends up being. Starfall actually also has like a leveling bonus that you end up getting at level 54, because they did that level squish, and it basically reads casting Starfall extends the duration of all active moonfires and sunfires by 4 seconds. So it may not force you to end up redotting on AoE whenever you're doing like Mythic Plus pulls or something like that, where they're lasting a long time. I actually really like this because our AoE was super slow paced in Mythic Plus because it took just so long to get out Starfalls, and then once you end up getting going, there's like a downtime again at some point where you actually end up having to apply more Starfalls or dots. Sorry, not Starfalls, more dots. So that is actually a really nice change that they are adding. They're adding that Starfall rank like passive that you end up getting. So beyond that, the only other thing that's really changed about our talents is Fury Balloon got like a slight nerf. So it does full damage to one singular target, then it does reduced amount of damage on secondary targets. So it's getting the what is equivalent of the AoE cleave nerf that we've seen a lot from a lot of classes this expansion. Moonkin not exactly a big recipient of that since we do have Starfall, so that is classified as like a full-on AoE, whereas a lot of other classes are getting their cleave or damage nerfed. But yeah, that's all I've seen from Balance so far on the alpha. Alright, so let's get my thoughts on this whole entire thing. So basically, I find the Eclipse system quite interesting, and I think that overall our AoE is going to be substantially better because of it. Not only that, but it looks like Starfall is actually going to be a real AoE ability come this expansion. Moonkin on the surface seems like it's going to be one of the most powerful Mythic Plus classes in the game because of the utility suite that's being added. It has some incredibly nasty combinations just with like the Ursul's Vortex plus the Typhoon. You also get access to Cyclone, Stampeding Roar. That's all really nice for Moonkin and Mythic Plus. As for just how our rotation functions, I do think like you may end up reaching a point at some point where you have just 100% uptime on Eclipses. And Eclipses may end up feeling clunky because of like, I don't know, RNG or how the ICD ends up working out. But all in all, I do like the Eclipse system. If there was one thing I was going to change, it would be the fact that the Eclipses actually proc whenever your cast hits the target, which is really awkward for projectile speed, especially with the abilities like Solar Wrath. It doesn't really matter as much for Lunar Strike, but having to cancel a cast just because you ended up proccing the empowerment halfway through is kind of awkward. So I would change that to where it's not on hit, it's on cast, so you can appropriately change what ability you're going to be casting next. All in all, I enjoy it. I think it's quite interesting. I think there's the change from empowerments to eclipses was really needed. Starfall is a significantly better ability. The class looks like it's going to be substantially better in Mythic Plus. As for how it is in Raid, I assume it's how it will be as it always has been, just slightly above average, probably nothing special. It doesn't really fill a defined niche in like a certain way. Maybe it feels like some spread out AoE cleave niche again, but that's very infrequently available in Raid as just like something that's insane. So it will probably be good in Raid, probably not the best. So I actually do believe that Eclipse is better in Mythic Plus currently than Empowerments. I actually think Eclipse is just a significantly better system than Empowerments, even though you'll just end up spamming Wrath until you get a Lunar Eclipse proc, and then you spam Lunar Strike until the Eclipse proc ends, and then you probably will not press like the Solar Wrath on the Solar Empowerment, even if it is empowered with the Eclipse. But I still find that the system is better than Empowerments because Empowerments don't feel like they actually do anything, where Eclipses feel like they do a lot. There's like a range that you have to play around your eclipses as well, especially with Lunar Eclipse giving that AoE damage modifier. So you're going to want to use as many Starfalls as you can during AoE. So that would be interesting. Something I would like to see come back is maybe Hasted Starfall would kind of be cool because you can't drop overlapping Starfalls, so that's kind of awkward. Maybe you end up like, you'll have like one Starfall out, and then you'll end up Star Searching to extend your Lunar Eclipse, then you'll probably cast another Starfall during that Lunar Eclipse cycle. So that's kind of interesting. Also, I think the ICD resetting with Celestial Alignment is actually a pretty cool function of our kit. It gives a lot of nuance and control. There's a lot of decision making that goes into Balance right now on single target and AoE, which is interesting. And our AoE is sped up in terms of damage components, so I do like that. There will be differing opinions. I'm sure that this is it's always going to be differing opinions with just how things function, but that's how it's just going to be. I've been enjoying it, though. We're going to end up seeing, just as the alpha progression cycle comes through, with how the covenants end up working out and how everything ends up shaping up. maybe my opinion will end up changing, but right now I really am enjoying Moonkin. So we'll end up seeing how it ends up working out. And if you guys want me to test anything else, just let me know down in the comment section. I'm definitely more than willing to test out stuff, give some feedback. You guys can check out my stream as well. I'll be streaming some more alpha content probably after the MDI, maybe like Monday. It depends on just like how much time I do have available. But I hope you guys enjoyed the content. I will see you guys later. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Peace.